joining us right now. Hopefully, our text messages will not be requested at a FOIA demand from Judicial Watch, but Tom Fitton is the man for the job if it's to happen. Tom at Judicial Watch, always good to talk with you, my friend. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm not sure if I want to continue this conversation, but that's okay.
You're safe.
You know what?
Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
We've been teasing all morning long that you finally, you've got the goods on the whole Peanut the Squirrel story, and I do want to talk about that. But quickly, you live in the area. You have children in school. I'm sure you've been watching this Montgomery County story that made it to the Supreme Court yesterday, and the way the media has covered it, and made anybody who dares to suggest that their kindergartner should not be exposed to sensitive sexual, even identity or relationship topics without parents' consent. Tom, setting aside politics, how did we get here at this place where this even has to go to the Supreme Court? As a parent, aren't you? I'm still dumbfounded how radical and how quickly and how radical Montgomery County and other jurisdictions around here have gotten.
Yeah, I mean, what it comes down to, the books are bad enough.
Yeah.
But there's a curriculum around the books, and the left are outraged that parents may not want their young children to engage in sex talk with government employees who are teachers. That's what it comes down to. Do you want your child engaging in sex talk with another adult who you don't know?
Well,
and they may say, oh, no, that's not what we're doing. It's exactly what they're doing. They want to engage in sexual discussions with children.
Yep.
And any school who does that, frankly, it's not even a question of opting out. It's a question of why aren't there prosecutions of adults who want to do that?
Yeah. Tom, it was interesting, too. Gorsuch actually got to this. He kind of examined how these books are used. They don't use them in human sexuality class. They use them in English. So what they do is they integrate these books with sexual content into the regular curriculum. So as a parent, you think, oh, they're in who objects to my kid being in English class? Who objects to my kids being in history class, right? And what you don't realize is that and when parents might get nervous is, let me look at what's being taught in human sexuality. No. They actually integrate it into the regular curriculum so parents don't know. They're hiding it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
This is going to be an ongoing risk of any public school. I mean,
yes.
The left is going to do this no matter where and no matter how, forever. And parents must be eternally vigilant if their child is in a public school. Private schools don't get a free pass there, but at least you've got choices.
Right.
Public schools, once you're in, they don't want you to have choices.
Right.
All right. So while we've got Tom, actually, you know what? I want to get in. We're going to carry. Are you okay to do a second segment with us?
Sure.
You got okay, good. Because I want to get into the Peanut Squirrel stuff. I really do. But also, I'm also curious in terms of your thoughts on the whole narrative that we've been covering on the Maryland man and the deportation of this man who is, by all credible law enforcement observations, a member of MS-13. The rollout, because you specialize in the government documentation and trying to, uncover the truth. The rollout of the information about this guy and about the tactics used by Homeland Security under Joe Biden to allow him and so many others that were pulled over for human trafficking, apparently in Tennessee, just let them out and let them loose. This has sort of been a treasure trove of revealing exactly how our government functions and where Democrats put their priorities, Tom.
Yeah, more of it. I think they should kind of be in favor of, as President Trump calls, maximum government transparency on these gangbangers they are trying to deport. Sometimes over, where you have the courts actually not only trying to stop them from being deported, but in the case of this MS-13 gang member, they're trying to re-import him back into the United States. And the more we know about these gangsters, it's harder for the left media to engage in this narrative, and they're kind of just they're flailing at this point. And the problem for the Democratic Party on these issues is that they have these communists who are running the show, and they really don't know how to behave rationally as a result from their pressure. Where you have a sitting U.S. senator travel to another country on the taxpayer dime to meet with a gangster. and pretend that there's anything normal, and while pretending there's something normal about that.
Coming up, we learned last year that we were told the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation were responding to complaints. That's where they got Fred the raccoon and Peanut the squirrel, and after further examination, they decided that they needed to be euthanized. Is that the truth, or were they really a state of New York assassination squad that was sent specifically to rub out that little squirrel? We'll get to the truth in a moment with Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch. It's 7:44.
WMAL, making sense of the markets, because generational wealth doesn't build itself. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
Little critter news action here with Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch as we re-examine the story of Peanut the squirrel. Tom, we were told that there were multiple complaints. You've done a FOIA request, or the New York State version of the FOIA request. We were told multiple complaints about these wild rabbit animals who were being kept illegally as domestic animals. Were there actually complaints from anyone who lived there, or were these just people on social media? Because these guys, they had an Instagram account, and they would show these animals in their house. So was it just people living God knows where, seeing it on Instagram, or were there actual threats or concerns about neighbors of these people?
Yeah, I mean, you raise a fair question. What came across in the documents is it really didn't matter, because once there was one complaint, you had these government bureaucrats start scrolling through the social media of the target of the, targeting the owner to figure out what was going on. And, the documents show they had 12 people raid the home, and they were planning to cut the animals' heads off ahead of time. And I don't say that lightly, because that's how you investigate a rabies incident, is by decapitating the animals. And so the notion that, they went into the home and the squirrel bit a poor worker, poor government official, and they needed to check for that's not what the documents show. The document shows a squirrel did bite someone, but he didn't break the skin, or frankly even the leather or the glove that the official was wearing. And
wow,
I think it just, to say that 12 people raided a home, 12 government agents raided a home because they were concerned that a squirrel and a raccoon were being kept improperly, I mean, to state it is to condemn it.
Yeah, and there's no, like you say, there's no other way to examine this but to kill the squirrel, and there were no, and also, wasn't there a raccoon involved as well?
Yes, Fred.
Fred, gosh. So they go in, they make these.
Poor Fred doesn't get all the glory that Peanut has gotten, but he got his head chopped off too.
Well,
God. Is this
these were family pets, and it's, I don't know if there was a technical violation of the rules against harboring wildlife, but it was come on.
Oh, it's so sad.
Give them a ticket. Seize the animals, put them in a sanctuary. There are all sorts of things they could have done without a government raid, and obviously this gained national headlines. People were outraged, and I don't think you need to be a supporter of Judicial Watch or be worried about the deep state to think, well, this was a step too far.
It was, and these people, they raided this house. They terrified these animals. These animals were found sort of hiding, one in luggage, one in a bathtub in the house. And again, they cut the head off, euthanized these animals. What have the owners? Did they sue? I thought they sued.
Last I checked, they were talking about suing. It was also dangerous. I presume the government was armed.
Yeah.
The owner probably could have been armed as well. And who knows what happens in those scenarios? It's a risky. You don't want to look. If you're going to raid someone's home, it's inherently dangerous, right? And that's why the police send 12 people. I'm not.
The government should be rather circumspect when doing something like this.
Right. I mean, there's got to be,
Tom, real fast.
They got to be worried about Donald Trump. They have to be worried about situations where a president might have a document a bureaucrat wants back. those are the reasons you need the raid homes, right?
Right.
This is why
And there's
people
no
are upset
raids
about
for the home down the street that you know is full of illegal immigrants and they're selling drugs in their driveway. There's no way they'll ever raid that home. Real fast, Tom,
yeah.
did
No.
the records suggest that the plan was always to go in there and kill these animals?
Yeah. So there was the plan was that they presumed there would be a rabies incident, and so they would just have to take the animals and kill them to test for the rabies. So the story that he bit the squirrel bit someone, and that was the reason they had to do a rabies test is not true. They lied. They lied.
All right, we got to leave it there. Tom Fitton, Judicial Watch, he catches all the liars, and we love him for it. JudicialWatch.org. Give them some money so they can keep doing the work they do. Thanks, Tom. Great talking with you.
Thank you, guys.